Hello, and welcome to GameRomp Easy Mode, an easygoing podcast where my wife and I talk about video games, what we've been playing, what we want to play, etc.
Hi, I'm Deanna.
And I'm David. So, Deanna,
Yes.
we've been playing a lot of Enshrouded,
Yes.
a few demos,
Yes.
and we finally finished Suikoden 2.
Yay, we finished a game. It's a miracle.
Yeah, that's I think the first time we played through a JRPG like that together.
Yeah, I know you've played a lot of JRPGs through your life, and somehow I missed the boat as a kid, so it's just, not usually a thing I do.
Yeah, unless you count Pokemon again, but...
Yeah, even that I fell off, hard after Silver, so...
So yeah, we finally got through Suikoden 2. After we beat it, I realized just how much we skipped by.
Well, yeah, because we didn't want to... I didn't want to have to go through an extra, 20 hours trying to figure out how to get everyone.
No, it wouldn't have taken that long. Maybe.
Okay, I guess we would have cheated and used a guide. Spoilers for Suikoden coming up.
Yeah, because there was a lot of characters we just straight up missed that even I found on my first playthrough. Like Meg with her little robot. I don't know how we missed her. Or Clive. Anyways... It's fine. We got one of the bad endings. Or not the happy ending. But then we went back and watched the happy ending just to see what it was about and how it worked. And
no, you say one of the bad endings. Did we not get the worst ending? Because basically everyone in the group had either died or split away. That seems pretty bad.
When you say everyone, you mean the main three?
Well, main four.
Because everyone, most of the people out of the 100 plus people that you come into contact with were fine.
Sure, but I mean Ryu, Joey, Nanami, and Plika.
We ended up, we didn't save Nanami. You have to get all the Stars of Destiny to do that.
Which seems excessive, but okay.
It's just a thing to,
work towards.
Yeah.
If you happen to know it's a thing.
I think everyone that's played through this game blind the first time gets that ending.
I would assume so.
And
Jesus.
then it's kind of an incentive to go back and replay it to get the other ending. And it's not a super long game. It felt like it took us a long time, but that's because we were playing it maybe twice a week.
Yeah, I guess that doesn't help. Do you remember how many hours it recorded though? It should say how many hours you've been playing every time you save.
Yeah, I don't remember it off the top of my head, no. It's probably 20 to 30 hours. But granted, we skipped a lot of stuff, or didn't find everything. But yeah, Suikoden 2 was a game that it was so hyped up back in the day. And a lot of people missed it because it was a 2D game and everyone was interested in Final Fantasy and the 3D stuff.
So it came out towards the end of quote-unquote the 2D life?
No, it was just around that era where everyone was trying to do 3D, so it was kind of in the middle of the PS1 era. Okay. Maybe around Final Fantasy VIII, so...
Final Fantasy kind of goofed it up for everyone, I guess, back in the day.
Everyone was in the mood for 3D back then.
Okay,
even Sony was just pushing no, you guys got to make 3D. Mega Man released Mega Man 8, and that was 2D. But they had to make a 3D one too because it was just the thing. Everyone needed to do 3D, even though we didn't know at the time that those 3D games would age poorly, and games like Mega Man 8 and Suikoden and Final Fantasy Tactics would age a lot better. But Suikoden 2 was kind of a sleeper hit, and eventually the rumors got out that it was really good. And even back then, in the early days of eBay, a copy of Suikoden 2 would go for $200+
Holy shit.
So a lot of people didn't get to play it. I think the first time I played Suikoden 2, I might have pirated it because
if they're not printing any new copies and everything costs $200, yeah, of course people are going to have to go that route.
Yeah, and back in the day, it was kind of easy to play pirated games on a PS1 because you would just use a Game Shark, and then that would boot the games just fine. But yeah, it's just a story where I guess it's compared to a Final Fantasy game or a lot of the other RPGs at the time. The story felt more grounded because sure there are some magical elements with the runes and the true runes and stuff like that, but it's just people versus people stuff.
Yeah.
So it just felt after playing Final Fantasy VII or Final Fantasy VIII, which deals with interdimensional time traveling witch nonsense.
Oh jeez.
It's like, this is just a country and people trying to live, and it's just it was a refreshing story. So it was, I don't know, it was nice to be able to share that with you.
It was a good story, and I'll just reiterate quickly here that I told you basically when we finished this last night. The story was fine other than Joey, because okay, fine, it's a personal thing of me, but he was your friend, and you're going through all this stuff together, and you both have, you know, the two parts of the true rune. And then he just goes off and does, I guess, what he thinks is right, but it bothers me that, like, he just won't fucking communicate that with you. And he's like, it feels like he's keeping this whole secret, and you get to the point where, like, we don't have to keep fighting once Luca Blight is finally dealt with, and he's like, no, we can't stop here. I have to continue this. But he doesn't fucking say why, and it just... the non-communication really gets to me. And that's the only part of the story that I think really bothers me. Because, like, again, if he had just been a regular villain, and I know the trope of villains doing their monologue or whatever to, like, the hero in movies and stuff. But in real life, you don't expect the villain to, like, tell you why they're doing this or making the wrong choices or whatever. But the fact that he was supposed to be your friend and he still wouldn't communicate why he's doing all this dumb shit really bothered me.
I think he did, though, because he was saying, like, the only way to, you know, bring peace in this world was through force. He was like...
But he's bringing that force against you. It just doesn't make sense.
Well, it's not just you, though. It's like, even if you weren't a part of the picture, he would have to, like... It's a complicated thing, like...
It seemed to me like there was only one other, like... I don't know if they counted as a military state. That one, like, old chunky dude who was an asshole just to be an asshole. Like, he was the only one. Everyone was like, we just want to be fucking left alone. But, like, it just felt like Highland wouldn't allow that to happen.
Well, they wanted to be left alone, but they basically made the city-states a weak target, because, like, Highland versus any of the individual city-states was, like, an easy victory, but they needed to learn to band together. And Jowie saw that, too, that, like, they just did not want to do anything together. They were...
Was that... I don't know. But, like, the problem was only that, they didn't want to band together so that Highland would take them over. But, like, if Highland didn't do that, then everyone could just be on their own. Like, them banding together was only an issue because Highland kept fucking attacking them.
I mean, technically, although you could say that, like, you know, there are other countries. Like, there's the Tauran Republic to the south, and Zexen to the west, and Harmonia, the other countries that are just mentioned in passing. And, like, the city-states were, they were, I don't want to, like, compare it to real-life stuff, but, like, they were kind of the EU before they became the EU.
I mean, I guess, but it's like...
Easy pickings for whatever nation decides, you know what? It's time for me to conquer.
I mean, yeah, sure, I get that, but, like, I don't know. Maybe I'm just not understanding it clearly, but, like, that's like saying, this big bad country of Russia is gonna attack all these smaller places until they band together to defeat Russia. It's like, well, Russia could have just, like, not attacked them.
Well, yeah, I mean, but what kind of story would that be? Like, well, the bad guy could just not be the bad guy.
I know, like, okay, when it was Luca Blight, that made sense, fine.
Yeah.
But when it was Joey, it didn't.
You were saying, yeah, once Luca was defeated. But I guess the thing is that
and Joey was like, no, I have to continue what he was doing. Like, no, you don't.
He wanted to stop the possibility of future conflicts in an authoritarian... in kind of like a...
authoritarian way?
Yeah, where, like, we're going to use strength to make sure this kind of thing never happens again.
Yeah.
Which, obviously, you know, that's why he's the bad guy, but, like, it's also kind of like he wanted to get he wanted to find a way to get to peace that he saw was possible. Because, like, the democracies and the happy ways just were not working out for this country. Like, even before, when the city-states were fighting with the Tauran Republic, or when the city-states attacked Highland. Like, it's just been constant wars. We only see a small glimpse of this. Like,
I mean, okay, fine. I guess that's a possibility. It's just like,
I
need to bring about peace by beating the shit out of you.
I'm not trying to, like, defend Jowie, obviously, but, like, I think that's what he is seeing. Like, he sees Luca has basically strong-armed everyone into like doing what he wants. And he's like, what if I could do that, but in a like not be evil about it, and just like, we're gonna take over, and we're gonna be like, okay, that's it, no more of this. And it's obviously naive and stupid, but like that's what he was trying to accomplish.
Okay.
I can see his goal. It's obviously just not the right way. But anyway, I didn't want to get too drawn into that. But yes, I know he didn't communicate it a lot, and like even if he could, though, I think the thing is too that these two countries are bigger than the two leaders. Just like Highland continued to march on after Luca, if Jowie did something that, you know, pissed people off, and he got if he was, you know, if somebody got rid of him, like it's just more of the same.
Maybe.
Anyway, let's move on for Suikoden too. It was fun going back through it, and mostly I just want to like, I don't know, like, okay, there's the bigger political stuff, but just like the like character stuff, like Ryo and Nanami and everything. It's just like, oh god, it's so touching.
Yeah, it was a good story.
Good, because now that we're done with this, we're gonna finish up Persona 3, which is, I'm pretty sure we're pretty close to finishing that too. And the story of Persona 3 is like, it's fine. The characters are fun, but it's not like as interesting, I guess, in my opinion. Because it's just like sci-fi, like, ooh, what is all this stuff? And then like there's a demon or something.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting, but obviously in a completely different way.
Yeah.
And like, there's also the interpersonal interactions and like, okay, fine, the overarching stories, like whatever. And to some degree, it's just more interesting to find all the new personas, I guess. I don't want to necessarily call them demons. Not all of them are bad. And it's just interesting to find, like, oh, what culture does this come from, and how different is it,
Yeah.
quote unquote, in real life than it is in the game, and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's something that's appealing about Shin Megami Tensei in general.
Just all the
Yeah.
personas and
Yeah, because that's
monsters and
you can
stuff.
get that in any of the Persona games, Persona 4 or 5 or Shin Megami Tensei. Like in Shin Megami Tensei, if you like those demons, they can literally be your party members instead of your, you know, classmates or whatever. But the story wise, I think, yeah, so far, well, we're not done with it, so I'll save my judgment for when we're done, but we'll finish it soon.
Yeah, I guess we'll have to see how it works out getting rid of that tower and what keeps it going after the main guys have supposedly gone.
That leaves, like, what am I going to do? What are we going to do after all this?
Well, we still technically have Enshrouded as well, but that's
Yeah.
completely different. Like, there's some story to that, but it's more of a open-ended game because it's a crafting game, I think.
Yeah, there's story. It's more like, it's almost kind of like Fallout 76 in a way, where you're finding stories of people that are long gone.
Well, I mean, yes, some of them definitely, but then there's also the ones like, hey, we found stories of this one guy, and now he's one of our NPC characters.
True.
So it's a little mix of both.
Yeah, there's like, I guess, they're not cryopods, but like some people got
Suspended
sealed
animation.
up, and then you can like free them, and yeah, no.
And there's also finding the lost souls, which is interesting, I think.
Yeah, there's a lot of new people, like the farmer guy. I don't remember his name, but now there's this dude, and he was like, oh, you know, he has I guess the story wasn't like complicated or in depth or anything, but he had a little thing where he's like, I need my garden gnomes.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's a lot more now. That was not a thing when I originally played the game.
Yeah, and as far as like the main NPCs, like the farmer lady, or I guess you could call her more the florist, and the blacksmith, the carpenter, I think there's 9 in total of the main guys. I don't know how many in total of the lost souls there are or not, but I guess we'll see.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's like a lost soul or 2 for every NPC, because I think we found
it must be, yeah.
the lost soul farmer from the florist lady, right? They were connected, I think.
Yeah, and I know the little dwarf carpenter dude's already, one of his quests already is like, oh, can you find my assistant?
And he keeps talking about his aunts. Like, I think there's one aunt in specific he tends to bring up, but I think he's like, oh yeah, I had like 8 aunts or something. So I don't know if we'll end up finding any of those, but that would be funny.
I think it might be, yeah. Well, we'll see. The thing about Enshrouded is, like, yeah, we're not going to have, like, a lot of, like, interesting story updates, but
Unfortunately not.
it's just been fun to play and, like, slowly expand our little house.
and turn it into more like a little town.
Yeah, some of the people live in the barns. And then like expanding the farm and repairing the house. Like I finally repaired the walls. I think next will be repairing the roofs.
So it seems like you were kind of already working on another game for us to play soon. You seem to have brought up screenshots you wanted to show me.
Oh, okay, we can move on to the demo talk. So yeah, I was thinking, what am I going to play next, right? We can talk about demos after in a moment, but there are a few games coming out this month. Actually, there's a lot of games coming out this month. I want to play 3 of them. Obviously, I can't play all 3 of them, but
So you're going to have to choose, what, 1 or 2?
yeah. The first game that's coming out tomorrow,
As of recording.
yeah, which is the 4th of September. Or today's the 3rd, tomorrow's the 4th, when Silk Song finally comes out.
And I know you weren't, like, super into the meme of it, but you do seem interested because of the price, I think?
Well, not just because of the price. I mean, I like Hollow Knight, and
Well, okay, but the fact that it's a surprisingly cheap game.
yeah, that makes me think, well, maybe I will pick it up. We'll see. I haven't decided yet. I'll probably decide by tomorrow. I don't know. Maybe. So that's one of them. Another game that's coming out on the 19th. Actually, let me skip that one. Because the other one I had originally really, really wanted to play is Final Fantasy Tactics.
Yeah, that's true.
That comes out on the 25th. I don't know how much that's going to cost, but like I kind of really do want to just play that because of all the new story stuff and voice acting, and just especially since Suikoden 2 is so fresh on our minds.
Yeah,
a lot
that's
of people
fair.
compare Suikoden 2 and Final Fantasy Tactics because there's a lot of the similar political stuff. I think Suikoden is a more, believe it or not, lighthearted kind of vibe to it.
Yeah,
But Final Fantasy Tactics is like,
super serious.
not always, but I don't want to say it feels more bleak, because Suikoden had bleak moments too, but I guess it touches a lot more on like social stuff too, not just like the political class. It'll be interesting. I definitely want to play that. Part of me wonders like how long that would take, because tactical battles tend to take longer, but I definitely, it's going to be one of those things I think I'm going to do like I did with Suikoden. We're going to play to a certain point and then decide if we keep playing it.
Yeah.
So-
And maybe I'll start in the beginning with the battles, if that's okay.
Sure, if you want.
I'll try and see how long I can last, but yeah. I'm not very good at tactics stuff in general.
Well, I'm sure it'll be better than the Suikoden tactic battles.
Here's one quick question. Because the only other tactics game that I guess Final Fantasy in general has, but the one that I played was the Tactics Advanced. In that one, I know you could position your people to try and not get them hit from behind. Does this have the same?
Yeah.
Okay, just out of curiosity.
Yeah, and depending, like, that'll up their evasion or whatever. So that's one of the ones I'm considering that I definitely want to play. So it's like, if I get Silk Song, will I finish it in time for that? Or this other game? I don't think I'd be able to finish this game in time for Final Fantasy Tactics, so maybe
Not
that's...
if it's 6 days later now.
Yeah, maybe that kind of decides it for me. But this is a game I've also been wanting to play. It's called Trails in the Sky. Now, this is a remake of I guess, would they call it a doujin game? A long time ago, a small team made this little game. I'm showing you the pictures now.
Okay.
They kind of look like little Playmobil characters on 2D. No, actually, I think the backgrounds are 3D. But
They're like the pre-rendered backgrounds.
no, I think that the backgrounds were 3D, but the characters were sprites, and they had this really doughy kind of...
Yeah, I think I know what you mean.
It's a really weird art style.
I don't know. I mean, I guess I don't know if I've played a game exactly with this style, but, like, it doesn't bother me. I can... It's fine that they look like that. It's whatever.
Anyway, I did play that original game. I did not get super far into it. At some point, I just kind of bounced off. I don't know why. I don't know if, like, the art is part of it, but, like, I've admitted plenty of times that I can be kind of shallow with how games look. Which is weird for me. I mean, we just finished Suikoden, but, like, if you look at a game like the sprites in Suikoden 2, and then you look at the sprites in this, it's just, there's something about them that just, I don't know, I don't really like them too much.
You know, it's given me this odd feeling of, like, one of the older business games that I played way back in the day, and they kind of had this look to them. And let me guess, they remade it and now they look like that.
Yeah, now it's just like a full 3D. Like it's more third person down into the world instead of like a top down view.
Yeah,
It kind of looks like
remake-
Persona, except now instead of like Tokyo, it's just like out in some green fields and JRPG cities.
The remake is given me very like Japanese or East Asian MMO vibes. I guess it's fine, but I'm gonna be honest and say the old style really does not bother me. I think it's kind of cute in its own way.
I mean,
And
people,
this just goes to the generic
yeah.
anime style.
I mean, it's just modern anime 3D games.
I guess either is fine.
But anyway, that's the whole thing. Like they're remaking this, and it's a completely different art style, and it's more like instead of top down, you got third person, so you're more in the action. So it also has, I forget if the old game had voice acting, but the new one obviously is going to have all that stuff, and it's a big project as far as like remaking this game into that kind of style. Now, that game has a demo. I already downloaded the demo on Steam. So I'll probably play that now that we finish Suikoden 2. I'll play through that demo. I think it's like 6 to 8 hours long.
Do you want to play it together?
We could stream it.
Okay.
So yeah, that was one of the ones that I was going to play. And it's like, I got a feeling I'll want to play more once I get through the demo. But I kind of...
the other two games, they're more high priority.
I don't know. It's hard to say. Final Fantasy Tactics, I think, is my top priority. But the other two, I'm not sure. I don't think I can get through this other game, Trails in the Sky, in time to finish for Final Fantasy Tactics. And it's like, do I really want to be juggling two RPGs again like we did with Suikoden and Persona 3? I don't know. We'll see. But those are like the 3 games that I'm thinking like, ooh, what am I going to play next? And of course, we're still playing through Enshrouded as well. So
Yeah.
But
there's just too many freaking games.
other games coming out this month that I would potentially want to play, not anytime soon. Demon X Machina has a new game. I also have the demo for that, which I have not played. So I got the demo loaded and ready to go on my Steam account.
I feel like I've heard of it, but it's not bringing up anything in my memory.
Demon X Machina, the original, was kind of like... It was kind of like an Armored Core game. Well, like you're in these mechas, right? And you customize your mecha.
Okay.
This one, I think they're going more towards like, instead of you're in a mecha, you're kind of like more in a power armor. So it's kind of scaled down a little bit.
Okay, more human-sized.
Yeah, and they've also, instead of like a mission-based thing, kind of like Monster Hunter, where you're like, you got your mission, you go out into the world, and then you come back. Apparently this one's more like an open world kind of thing. So I guess it's in the same world. I have Demon X Machina, the original, on Epic because they gave it away at some point, and I've never played it. I don't know why, but I figured something about the new one. Maybe I'd want to give it a try because it's open world. I don't know. Either way, I got a demo. I'll try that out. But
Okay.
I'll probably not play that anytime soon. That comes out on the 5th of this month.
Oh boy.
Another game coming out this month on the 25th, Silent Hill F.
Oh boy. There's a lot of competition this month.
Yeah, and it's like, oh wow, I didn't realize Silent Hill was coming out so quick. I don't think I'll be getting this anytime soon. I'm still kind of like not quite understanding why this game is called Silent Hill when it's like in a completely different place.
Yeah.
But I don't know. We'll see. It'll be interesting to see reviews and see what people think of it. Maybe one day I'll play it.
Yeah. Because, like, other than the fact that, like, oh no, it's a Silent Hill game, but what's the connection to actual Silent Hill? Outside of that, it still seems interesting in itself.
Yeah, definitely. Another game that I just learned about but looks kind of interesting is called Kijora. Now, there's a demo for this. I just downloaded the demo. This comes out the 4th, so that comes out tomorrow as well, apparently.
Well, that's not a good day to pick. Sorry, there's only one game that releases tomorrow, essentially.
It reminds me a lot of the Shin-Chan games.
Oh, okay.
So it's kind of like rural Japan. You're a young kid and you got your kid friends, but they're kind of stuck in like a Groundhog's Day situation where the day keeps repeating.
Huh.
But like it has it's visually pleasing, just like the Shin-Chan game. It's got a nice little cartoon art style and pretty backgrounds. I downloaded the demo, so that'll be a fun demo to get through and see if like maybe this would be a game to keep an eye out for and play later.
You know, if you do end up getting into those games, I think I still have the tab open from like probably 2 months ago.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I know. But there was, so I know we know it as the Shin-Chan games, but
Yeah.
obviously it was almost a specific genre before Shin-Chan. And I forgot the complete name of it. It's like some kid's name no Atsuyumi. And I guess I would have to find the original ROM for it, but the tab I have is like someone made an English translation for it. So if you ever want to try those games, and I know the Shin-Chan ones are kind of like pricey for us, we could try the other game, and it's like the same
How much
style
are the
and
Shin-Chan
stuff.
games? They can't be that much. It's just we've had
I
so
think
much.
it's 40 or 50. I don't remember.
Wow, that's surprising for that kind
Maybe
of game.
30. I don't know.
I'll have to see on
but-
Steam. Like the first one, I mean, I think there's 2 of them by now, so the first one's got to be kind of cheaper.
Hopefully, yeah. But we could check that out. It just happens to be a different boy, and maybe he is less annoying. I don't. But then again, Shin-Chan in English is weird. Shin-Chan in Japanese is not as much, I don't think. It's like 2 completely different styles for whatever reason.
So, was there any other? I think those are the major releases for this month that I was thinking about. But we've also we talked about a little bit about some of these have demos, and we'll get to them eventually. But we've already played a few demos, so I guess we could talk about the demos we did play.
Do you want to finish up yours, or should I do mine and then...
No, you do one, I'll do one, and then you do another one, and we'll see
Okay.
how much time we got left.
Because I've been thinking a lot, because you had mentioned things like doing shorts for YouTube, and shorts don't do as well money-wise for the views as like long form. So I was like thinking, what's something other than the podcast maybe I could do or something. And like, actually, before I get into the demos real quick, I was thinking of talking a little bit to you about, like, I feel like reviewing indie games, or specifically games made by a single developer who's like starting to make games or only has a few under their belt. And it's like super indie, like very basic games, and maybe the art's not like super great because they're using assets or they're making their own stuff. Like, do you think there's a different way to review super tiny indie games versus like when you can like rip apart a AAA game because they have so much more resources? Do you think there's a different way to review these games?
Well, I mean, you always take into consideration the manpower and like the limitations of one person. That's why when we talk about something like Undertale or Stardew Valley, it's so impressive because it was just like mostly the one dude with a little bit of help here and there, right? I don't know if Stardew Valley dude got help until like after he published the first update or something. I don't. Either way, like
I know he mostly got help from Chucklefish as far as marketing the game, and I think Chucklefish helped support with porting to the game to especially like the Nintendo Switch, but also when it came to doing the multiplayer update. I know he had more of a team when he was working on that aspect.
so. Obviously, we judge a game like that way differently than we do with like if a big AAA company like Square Enix or Bethesda, like
Yeah.
if Square Enix put out Stardew Valley with a team of like 40 people, a lot of people would probably be like, why does it look like this? Even though, obviously Stardew looks great. It's kind of hard to say because sometimes like games like Stardew and Undertale just are so good in all respects, music, visually. Whereas like some other games, like one person will put it out and maybe they're not so good at music, or maybe they're not so good as an artist. Like even for Stardew, like I know when that first came out, I was not a super big fan of like the portraits. Like
Yeah.
it's fine and you get used to them, but like some of the first few mods that people were putting out were like, oh, we're going to make different portraits for the characters.
Yeah. I know, like, even when I've played it more recently, there's something, I guess, about the color saturation of Stardew that's kind of like, I get what they're going for, or what Concerned Ape was going for, but I like doing more of a palette change to get it more, I don't know, less saturated, I guess is just the easiest way
Yeah,
to
the
put
dirt
it.
is very yellow.
Yeah.
That's like one thing I remember standing out.
But it was just like when while I was playing these demos, and I went through 4 of them, I was going to start with another one, a fifth one, but when I went to the store page at the bottom, it was like, what this dev says about using AI. And supposedly the dev said that they were just using AI for like the textures or whatever. And
Do you want to
I'll
name
just
this
say,
game or not?
No, I don't actually remember the name anyways.
Okay.
But my thing was like, you're going to use AI for something as, I guess, quote unquote, simple as textures, because it's a 2D game. It's not 3D or anything fancy.
Yeah.
And it still looks like that. It didn't look great, but going into it thinking, okay, this is just a single dev, I can see it as a placeholder or whatever.
Yeah.
Or it doesn't look great. But if you're going to use AI and it's still going to look that bad, I'm not going to bother.
It's hard to say because, like,
There's
this
so
is
many
controversial,
free
but, like,
resources. Why would you use AI for that?
I guess there are resources. It's tough because, like, if you use resources, then people will be, oh, you're an asset flip. But, like, I mean, it also depends. Like, are we talking about, like, stone tiles and stuff like that?
I don't know. I mean, maybe, but it just feels like it was so gross looking that if you're going to use AI and it's going to look like that, like, why bother? You could make your own gross looking assets by yourself, and I would handle that much better.
I guess. Like, I think, again, it is just part of it is art direction, too, and, like, knowing what to do with the tools, or even knowing what to do or how to direct a real person to draw. Like, hey, I need some textures for wooden planks for my cabin or whatever. If you get somebody to draw that up and it's still, like, it doesn't fit or it's not well implemented, it could still look bad. So
Yeah,
even if they could probably use AI to make a decent enough looking, I don't know, dirt floor or whatever the hell they need, and still need to, fit it into the world correctly. It's kind of like in Minecraft, right? When you look at the vanilla Minecraft or some of the even like double resolution textures, but then sometimes people are like, we're going to make ultra realistic, dirt and tree barks,
And it just doesn't fit.
Yeah, it just looks bad.
Agreed.
Because it's more than just the textures. It's about like the whole how it all fits together and knowing how to make it look cohesive and good.
Yeah.
So I think that's more on them rather than the AI.
I mean,
Not
yeah,
to defend
that's
AI or anything.
fair, I guess. But I think from now on, I did kind of go through and just download the demos that I was vaguely interested in. So now each time before I even write down the notes in Obsidian, I'm going to check the store page and make sure it doesn't like be, this game uses AI or whatever. I'm like, nah, I don't want that.
It's just a cost and time saving thing for some people, and
I'd rather
sometimes
see
it shows.
placeholders. Anyways, so I guess the tricky thing is like, this is going to sound bad on my end, I guess, but I can more easily pick out things that I think the game needs to work on than what I don't know if I want to say more than what I enjoyed, but 3 of these games, I can see what they're going for, but they do need a lot of work, and I feel like that's the thing I end up picking out. Not in like a mean, like, I'm just gonna pull you apart to shit on you, but like, hey, this is what I noticed in your game, and I think, hopefully it shouldn't be too hard to not necessarily implement, but to fix.
Let's look at this more along the lines of, since they're probably never going to listen to this, and we're not just going to be like, hey, we made a podcast about your game. Let's think more on it about like what games you want to talk about, which ones you liked or didn't like or whatever, but more about making a conversation between ourselves rather than like trying to give advice.
Right, but if I make these into videos, that's the thing. Like, if I'm actually reviewing, say 5 or 10 games for one demo drip video, like, I guess it would be like one good thing and then a thing to fix. And
well, let's use this podcast right now as like a practice and just shooting out ideas and talking about it. Pick one of these and go for it.
Okay, so the first one I'm going to go over is Goblin Sushi. And this one, I don't know how many devs there are, but this one is the more worked on than the other ones.
Okay.
And the art style is fantastic. I definitely do love that. And the gameplay itself is it kind of, maybe you can get it from the title, Goblin Sushi. So you're working in this sushi restaurant, and all of your customers are like these monsters. So there's obviously the small little goblins. There's also like bigger orcs. There's a monster that you only see the legs of, and I guess their knees have mouths. So I don't know what that would count as. There's like an older lady monster. I don't know exactly what she is, or if she's just like if she's like a grandma orc or something. And there's also one of the customers is like the goblin you're paying rent to for the restaurant. So you're starting out and you're just making a basic sushi. You have 2 ingredients. You have the rice and the seaweed. You click on those 2 items and they get put on the sushi mat. The sushi mat automatically like makes itself, so that's easy. It'll take some time and then it'll unwrap. The sushi pops out, goes onto the roller, and it's like a sushi conveyor belt restaurant. And it's as much as any other of those like restaurant cooking games where the customer will come up, they'll order a plate, you make the sushi for them, it rolls out. When it passes by them, they'll grab it, eat the sushi, leave the plate, you clean up the plate, and it's, it's a basic restaurant game. You know how those work, right? So this one, I don't know, I haven't played many restaurant games like this. So this one, I don't know if it's different, but you'll get like these upgrades, I guess. And there's 3 that come up on the screen and you can choose which one. And there's things like the sushi rice maker will work faster, or you can unlock this new recipe and it'll have different ingredients, or the containers where you have the inventory will fit more ingredients and stuff like that. It's pretty basic. Or one of the interesting ones that I actually gasped at when it came up was you can unlock a character that will only eat poop at the restaurant. Now, okay, it says poop, but it's more like if you have a sushi that takes rice, seaweed, and like fish roe, right? But you make one that only has like rice and the fish roe, and that isn't a recipe you can make, it'll come out as quote-unquote poop.
It's kind of like Breath of the Wild when you mess up a recipe.
It comes out as like, the rotten food and it's censored. But this one's just a pile of poop.
Okay.
But you can unlock a character that only wants to eat the poop.
Great, okay.
I never ended up picking that option. And if you accidentally make the poop, you can just click on it and it'll get rid of it. That way it's not going down the line and taking up space. Then there's another aspect where you can unlock making smoothies, and you get the blender. And originally, you'll have to click on the blender, it'll make the smoothie, and then it'll pop out the smoothie next to the blender, and then when someone orders it, then you click on the smoothie, and it'll go down the line. But with enough upgrades, I had it so that the smoothie maker worked itself. I didn't have to do anything with the smoothie maker. And then eventually another upgrade where it will just put the smoothie immediately on the sushi conveyor belt. So by the end of the game, I just had like a shit ton of smoothies just making themselves, putting them on the line and just sitting there for someone to come by and take them. So it was like super automatic. It was great.
Okay. Automation.
Yes. Now the sushi is not automated quite to that degree. But by the end of the game, it's just like my conveyor belt was so full that customers would just come in and grab whatever they wanted. And I would still make whatever they were requesting at the time. But I had such a backlog that they didn't have to wait for the one I was making. So it was ridiculous. One of the other funny upgrades at the very beginning was that when you first start out, you send down the sushi down the line, they'll grab it and they'll leave a plate. So you're supposed to click on the plate to make room for another customer to sit down. Okay. But one of the early upgrades is that they'll just eat the plate too. Oh. So then you don't have to clean up anything. It was it was fucking great.
An edible plate?
For goblins and orcs and a knee mouth monster, yeah, I guess that works.
I mean, yeah, edible plates are kind of a thing, like a taco shell maybe, but I don't know if you're upgrading the plates or if you're upgrading your customers.
Yeah, you're upgrading the customers. So they'll just like vacuum it into their mouth. It's kind of hilarious. The sound is great. The visuals are great. The only thing that kind of got me was that I guess I was assuming that you would work for like a day, say it would last 10 minutes, and then you would pay your rent for the day, and then you would start again. But I guess it works maybe more on levels, and I was just going and going and going, and it wasn't stopping until the end of the demo. Like, it just kept going. Now, I don't know if the full game has the same setup and you just go on, like, forever. But that was my only critique, is, like, it just kept going on and on and on, and there was just no break.
It needs better pacing.
Yes.
Okay.
So that would be my only critique of this game. Otherwise, I think it's fucking great if you're into something silly.
Okay. Sounds good. Yeah, that sounds fair.
So yeah, I guess that one doesn't have too much of like a
It's kind of like, it reminds me, that other cooking game that we would play. What was it? The multiplayer one?
Played Up?
Yeah, that had the pacing where like you're done with the day and you get a little break to think and plan out for the next day.
Yeah, I think that would have been much nicer.
Yeah, games definitely need that. I mean, even like some of the Survivor games I would play would have that. Like when you level up, that's kind of like your break for a second to like take a breath, think about what skill you're going to get, and then go back to the action.
Yeah, there doesn't seem to be a break here.
Interesting.
Although this was the one demo I played where the full game is already released, where the other ones I've played are like either to be determined or have a set date in like November or something.
Yeah, fair enough. Okay.
So I'll go after... Oh, you wanted to try one. That's fine.
Yeah, we got a few demos to talk to you about. Yeah, I think we have enough time to do one for me and then one more for you.
Okay.
Yeah, how many do you have? You have 4, right?
Don't worry, it's fine.
All right, just think about which one you're going to talk about. I'll try not to take too long with mine. But yeah, obviously we've been playing so much Enshrouded that I'm like, oh god, we need to get something else to talk about. I had seen one of my favorite YouTubers that I don't even watch that much of, but
Oops.
he was playing a new Survivor game, as in like Vampire Survivor style.
Oh, gotcha.
It's called Grind Survivors. Now, this is kind of like the way they kind of spelled it out is it's kind of a mix of like a looter shooter and a Survivor game like 20 Minutes Till Dawn. I'm pretty sure I talked about 20 Minutes Till Dawn on this podcast a long time ago, but as a quick refresher, it's just another one of these Survivor games. But every time you level up, you get to pick a skill or whatever, but these skills also have like skill tree. So if you pick up like rapid shooting, that rapid shooting has like 3 more things after it that you can pick.
Right.
So it's kind of like that in this. It's a little 3D game, and it looks like you're controlling a little like soldier dude. It kind of has vibes of what is that game that is it's a popular PvE multiplayer shooter. I think it's Helldivers. Is that what it's called?
I think that's the one that's like satirizing political stuff.
Yeah, that one.
I think it's Helldivers, yeah.
The little soldier dude in this reminds me of that. But it's there's no satirizing, there's no story. It's just a simple little game. You're controlling a dude shooting demons.
Okay.
So it's just like the other games that you would imagine. You're shooting a bunch of like endless wave of things. They drop stuff, you level up, you pick skills. The bosses also drop weapons that come in that classic looter shooter MMO kind of color scheme. You got your whites, you got your greens, you got your blues, you got your purples, and then you got your legendaries, right? Mm-hmm. So part of the gameplay is you're leveling up and getting new skills to like, oh, what's my build going to be this time? But then the other part is like, oh, the enemies drop weapons like a green Uzi or a blue rare shotgun or an epic revolver. And those are the 3 types: Uzis, shotguns, or revolver. It's not too much.
Right.
This game, I think it's basically like early access. So it's got this mix of like, you're leveling up each run, but then you get these guns that stay with you. So when you go back to, when you die or beat the run, you go back to the main like selection and you pick which weapons of the ones that dropped that you want to try. So like, oh, this time I got like a blue Uzi. Or you can like upgrade them. If you have like 5 whites, mush them into 1, that becomes like a green. Or mush 5 greens into a blue, etc. But there's only 3 different types of guns. So it's like, well, once you played it with like the 3, you kind of get the feel of what it is. So even if like, oh, the legendary shotgun is like more stats than the blue shotgun, when you're playing, it just feels the same. It just does more numbers.
Yeah.
And like you get like more benefits, like this one reloads faster, this one does this when it reloads or whatever.
It's like technically there's variety, but it doesn't feel like variety.
Yeah. It's an interesting idea. I guess they took the idea of like, what if this survival game had looter shooter things in it? So like you get like, ooh, a gold gun. But by the end of my demo play, I don't know how many runs I did. I probably played for like maybe 1 or 2 hours. I had like a legendary version of the 3 different guns, and I felt like, well, each run doesn't feel that different to me anymore. So unfortunately for me, I was just like, I think I'm kind of done with this. It made me think more than anything, like how do you take this core idea of this like Vampire Survivor kind of game and change it up? And I know we've talked about the one idea we had where we were going to make like the Graveyard Keeper game. That's kind of like that.
Yeah.
It would have like different characters and like
different tools that they would use and different enemies.
And like some of those tools then would have like the daytime mechanics where like you're setting up your cemetery or whatever. This has like the daytime mechanic where you're like putting skill points into your skill tree. Like you got the big skill tree that comes with you every time. And then like when you're playing the game, you have like the little skill trees for the skills that you pick up. But then like you have the weapons that you pick up, and those are also the same like each time. Like, oh, if you got that gold shotgun, you can basically use that every run now.
Right.
So by the time I got like the 3 different gold weapons, it's like, well, I don't have to worry about the looter shooter elements anymore because I already got like a legendary of this. So it's like it kind of loses the appeal pretty quick. I don't know. I don't think I'll be playing more of it. It was kind of a neat idea to try. It's one of those games where like, well, I had fun for 2 hours and then I'm done. Which is, I mean, I guess that's not great for, somebody that's trying to sell their game, but maybe it's only going to be like $5 or $10. I don't know. It makes me think like when you were talking about critiquing these games, like, I don't know, did you have any thoughts about that kind of thing?
Well, I mean, I could go into the one that I had the most critiques, but it's mostly critiques in wanting it to be better.
See, that's the thing. Like, I feel like I have critiques for this game, but at the same time, I'm like, I don't feel like I'm going to sit here and like, oh, you guys should do this. I just feel like more like, well, it's just not for me, so I'm going to move on.
Yeah. Well, okay, let me go. So one of the games that, and like, okay, Goblin Sushi was the one that had the most polish to its demo, where the other 3 had a lot of things they needed to work on, even just for the demo itself. And the one I'll bring up is called Unreturning. So the first thing that popped up to me, I guess there was 2 quick things. One is that this is by a Spanish, I don't know if it's Spain Spanish or Latin American Spanish, but a Spanish dev. And unfortunately, the first thing that popped up was that when you start the demo, it comes up with the menu, and it's interesting because new game and continue are in English. And I guess I just went immediately to new game because I can read it. I don't think about it. But the rest of the menu is then in Spanish, and I didn't realize. So when I started the game, it started in Spanish, and I'm like, oh, wait, I have to go into options to fix this. So once I had to force close down, I think. I couldn't figure out I couldn't hit like escape to go back to the main menu. So I started up again, noticed that the rest of the menu was in Spanish, go to what I think was options, because Spanish is close enough for me. Go to options, figure out, okay, this is in Espanol, change it to English. Then I could start the game again. The second thing that really popped out to me was that the game is trying to be like spooky, and it did more of like a jump scare, like sudden goofed up audio and a sudden flash to the screen of, I don't know what it was. It might have been like a knife or something. And I'm like, I don't know. I'm not into that type of style of horror game where it's just like, whatever. The third thing that popped up to me is, I'm going to say there's probably a reason that using the left mouse button to guide your character is generally not a control scheme that anyone uses, because it is so fucking janky. At first I thought you had to click and it highlights.
It's kind of like an old-timey adventure game,
I guess, but it's more set up to look like a top-down 2D, like, I guess you would say like Legend of Zelda type of look. It's all pixel based.
Can you not use WASD or?
No, that's the thing, because when I'm playing a 2D game, I automatically go to WASD. And I'm sure most people do. But then the two controls are the left mouse button and Z to interact.
It's kind of like Baldur's Gate 3 in that way.
I guess.
That didn't have WASD at the beginning either. I don't know if it ever did. There's a mod for it, but
Yeah, I ended up installing a mod immediately for that because I just really don't like that control scheme.
Yeah,
and I've played a
I
few
agree.
games that do that, and it's just tricky because this is where one of the critiques is for me, is that when you're even making a demo, and I think one of the other games kind of had this issue too, you need the movement at the very least to feel good. And this didn't feel good. I don't like using the left mouse button. You would click down and it would do a quick, like, box highlight of where you wanted to go. But then sometimes the character didn't seem to move to where I was expecting him to move to. And because it's a top-down pixel, when you're using the mouse, he's going to the spot, hopefully, but he's not facing the direction. Like, he'll go to one spot, but I want him to face up. So what am I going to do? Try and click him again, but he doesn't move. And then I have to, like, click the object where he's not going to move, but maybe that moves him to face the direction.
And facing matters?
When I want to, like, interact with something, I would assume so.
Huh. Because, this reminds me the way you're describing it reminds me of Clock Tower. Because Clock Tower, even though it came out on the Super NES, you didn't move, I forget her name, Jennifer. You didn't move her with the D-pad. The D-pad moved a cursor, and you would, like, click on things, and she would walk to it or run to it, and you would click on things on the background to, like, interact with them.
Yeah. And then it's just, like, another thing that comes up a little bit later is, like, supposedly, according to the directions, interacting is with the Z key, right? But sometimes you would walk over, like, where spikes were, and the spikes had gone down. So every time you walk over the spikes, a text pop-up will come up and say, oh, the spikes have, like, retracted or whatever. But instead of using the Z key to go through the dialog box, if you're clicking furiously to try and just move the character where you want him to go, the clicking would also activate the dialog box. And sure, when it's just, the spikes have receded, maybe that's fine. But if you're clicking quickly and you're getting a dialog box and you're like, where's this coming from? And then clicking also gets out of the dialog box. You see what I'm saying? Like,
Kinda, yeah.
the control scheme is saying one thing, but then another thing is also triggering the dialog box. Or sometimes when you're talking to the NPCs, and it was weird because I really liked talking to the NPCs. They seemed pretty casual, and I like how that feels. But they weren't indicating when you could click the dialog box to move it, right? There was no, like, arrow or a button to show that, like, okay, the character's done talking in this box, you can move on to the next one. There was no indication of that. Sometimes the dialog box would go away, but you couldn't move around because then it would pop up again with more dialogue. And because that was going on, it just felt like the NPCs were talking forever. And it's not bad that they had a lot of dialogue. It was just the dialogue box would go away and come back. So it wasn't, the pacing again was off. And it just seems like, oh, okay, I'm not like saying that I'm the perfect gaming programmer or whatever. But it seems like such a simple thing they could fix even before a demo comes out.
What would they change?
Putting indicators when the dialogue box can be moved. Because there's no indication.
You can move the dialog box?
No, I mean like going to the next one.
Oh, gotcha.
There's no indication of when if the dialogue box is going to go away but come back again, put an indication that the NPC is still talking to you. So you're not trying to get away and then suddenly the dialogue box comes up again and they continue talking. Or space them out so when they stop talking the first time, make an indication above their head that they still have more to talk about. Or don't get rid of the dialogue box and just let it continue. Like, there's certain things where I'm not saying a game needs to hold your hand with like super instructions for everything, because I know games have that. Some games have that issue too.
Yeah.
But you need to put indicators for certain things when they're happening. Like when you can move the dialogue box, or when the text happens, and let us hit the Z key again so that it finishes the dialogue box if it's taking too long to roll out the text.
Oh.
And there's just, I don't know, there's so many small things for me that I would be adding to my own games before I put out a demo of them.
Yeah, that's the tricky thing, though, because a lot of people have different tastes and, like, desires for these things. I know, like, one of the common settings in games with dialogue boxes is the text speed. And sometimes, like, there's some settings for really slow text speed. And it's like, who wants that? I don't understand why that's even an option. I want my text speed to be as fast as my reading, at least.
So it's just like, I'm not saying it's a bad demo. And like a lot of the art was extremely simple, because I'm assuming they're doing it themselves, which is fine. I'm not a great artist. I was, using placeholders as I named them, just to make sure like I could get the mechanics between things to work correctly. So the visuals were fine. It doesn't bother me that it was simple. It was more of the control schemes and getting the buttons to work correctly. It was janky. And regardless of what the rest of the game is, if you can't get your controlling to feel correct to a player, they're not going to want to have to deal with the rest of the game. So like, there's potential to this game, and this dev creator had one previous game on Steam and an actual like game bundle. So I think there was like 5 or 6 games. I think it was 5 games for like less than $7 or something. So like, they've made games before, and maybe if I played like the full release of one of their other games, I could see like, okay, this is the quality that they're sitting at, or maybe the quality of the final game is much better than this current demo. It's like, I want to critique them, but not to, again, pull them apart. I want them to make this better.
Yeah.
Like, does that make sense?
Yeah, I mean...
And the translation for the game was mostly okay. There was a couple of lines that were still stuck in Spanish, which I know that can be... when you're putting in translations for a game, depending on how you're doing it. I did it in Game Maker, so there might be different systems depending on what program they're programming this in. But I don't know. The English translation seemed fine. It seemed fluent. It didn't seem like a very obvious translation, like missing certain things. And there was one part where most of the game, and the game itself, on the plus side, doesn't take itself too seriously. Like, the NPCs were silly and it was cute and whatever. And then there's one point where you're in this dungeon aspect and you're talking to the pile of skeletons, or pile of skulls, I should say. And they're all having their little dialogue box, and one skull says this and the other skull's like, no, whatever. And then this, what apparently is a turtle, comes up, and I guess he's blind because he doesn't see you, and he's just running around, or walking around, I guess. And out of nowhere, he just screams, fuck. And up until this point, there had been no swearing. And this turtle just turns around and was like, what am I looking for? Fuck, and then leaves. And I'm like, holy shit, that came out of nowhere. So that was funny. It has potential. It just needs a lot of work.
Yeah, fair enough. This makes me want to see you play Clock Tower.
Oh, yes. Give me control schemes that are going to drive me absolutely up the wall.
Well, mostly because, like, I've played through and beat Clock Tower, and I want to see, like... I know a lot of people sometimes will say, like, oh, it's kind of an awkward controlling game, but it'd be interesting to see how you feel about the controls and the story and everything, the experience. Like, can a Super Nintendo game be scary? Can a 2D game like this be scary without being obnoxious?
Yeah.
Because that game had a lot of... It did not have jump scares, but it had a lot of tension.
I don't know. I feel like some of the scenes where you're just walking around, and I know, like, you hear the music before Scissor Boy comes around, but...
No, you don't, actually.
No? There's no indication? It just starts when he shows up? Because I feel like that could count as a jump scare, because he's like, holy shit, I gotta run and get the fuck out of here.
I mean, I don't remember if the music continues after you run away from him for a little bit, but most of the time before he's around, it's pretty quiet.
I thought there was an indication, so it's not super, like, jump scare.
It also depends on how he pops in, because sometimes I guess you could say, I don't know, it never felt jump scary to me, but like obviously because it's a horror game, there is going to be sudden things, but like it's never one of those things where like you're looking closely at a quiet little thing and then suddenly it's like bam, you know.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it depends on what you count as a jump scare.
Yeah, to me the jump scares that are bad are like the ones that, like Resident Evil did this in the original game. You're like, I guess I wouldn't say they're bad, but like you're walking through this quiet hallway and then like looking around at the furniture and suddenly crash, like the windows break and dogs jump in.
Yeah.
That's like a jump scare. Or like Five Nights at Freddy is like the worst kind, where it's like not only are you like looking at really quiet things, but like the whole screen goes loud and the big old face comes and screams at you. That's like the worst kind.
But in the clock tower, isn't there a scene where like you're in a bathroom and you go to check behind the bathroom curtain and he pops out? Like,
yes, but you're kind of bracing yourself for it because
it's a shower curtain. That's that kind of a trope.
Well, not only that, but like when you go to examine the shower curtain, it kind of like switches to a new view, a view of not gameplay. It's like a little, imagine like a PNG on the screen. And then it starts cycling like something, you see something come out. It's kind of like, it's so janky and slow that it doesn't feel like a jump scare to me. Anyways, we'll see. Maybe we'll play that for Halloween.
Well, here's a question for anyone listening to this. What counts as a jump scare to you? Is it only when something like big flashes on the screen, or can a jump scare actually be slow as well? Does it have to be sudden?
I feel like as soon as like you're not in the moment of the normal gameplay, it switches to a different view and like you're seeing something like, oh, I'm not controlling it anymore. You're kind of like, your mind is already like in a new mode of like, oh, what's going on? Whereas if you're just like in that kind of like tense mood where you're just looking around and investigating stuff, and then bam, that's when it happens, that's a jump scare to me.
I think that would be an interesting discussion in the future to talk about of what qualifies as that.
Okay, we'll have to bring up Silent Hill 2 again, because do you think you remember any jump scares in that when we played through it?
Not off the top of my head, but I'll have to think more when I'm not like making a podcast.
I guess. I can't think of any jump scares in Silent Hill 2. But then there's moments that are creepy. Like when we were walking through the jail area, and there was like just a weird sound.
Here's a quick one, now that I had a quick second. What about when you're reaching through the grate to get the key and suddenly the girl steps on your hand? That seems like a very vague jump scare, kind of. Because you're focusing on the keys, you're trying to get it, and then suddenly like,
Maybe, but I think the thing that makes it not a jump scare to me is because it's such an uncomfortable moment. You know, James is putting himself in a risky situation by being prone on the ground with his arm stretched out. You're kind of tensing up like, oh, this is not going to go well. So like when it happens, it's not like a full screen. It's not loud. It's just a little girl kicking him. So that also helps. If it was first like a big face on the screen that screamed and then kicked away the key, then yes. But because it's a little girl that just, it's sudden, yes, it didn't feel like a jump scare to me. This is an interesting thing. Maybe we should revisit this, because this has already gone on pretty long for now.
So we'll leave you with that for this week. And we hope you enjoyed this episode.
A bit all over the place, but I guess they always are. So.
Yes, and we always say that too. Well, we hope you enjoyed it. So be good. We love you.
Take care.
Bye.
See you later.